Good morning, Nicole. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I am curious to know your journey from administrative support to founding CraveHRO.
Good morning. I am happy to share my journey with you. I started as a receptionist as an accounting firm a little over a decade ago. Wow, it feels weird to say that. I quickly advanced in my administrative career to administrative assistant, then executive assistant, and then I started at a startup accounting firm as their firm administrator. And here I am thinking, wow, this is great. I'm at the top of my administrative career. I'll grow with the firm. But they actually grew faster than we anticipated and tripled their staff in the first year of business, which required me to take on the HR responsibilities. It turned out that I enjoyed HR way more than the job I was actually doing, and I wanted to do more of it. So I went back to school for my master's in HR management, graduated with a 4.0, which was really awesome. I was never a great student prior to that. And I got my SHRM and my PHR certifications. And then I started working as an HR business partner for a payroll company. And things were going really well. I had 75 clients, over 2,000 employees. And this was during COVID as well. So it was pretty intense, got a lot of experience there. I moved on to take on an internal HR management job. Unfortunately, they had presented a misguided view of what the role would entail. I actually believe that they were hiring me to better position themselves to sell the business rather than actually take what I said into consideration, make a better environment for their employees, and make it a great place to go to work every day, which is what I strive to do. It's why I do what I do. Unfortunately, one day they put their employee safety at risk. I decided to leave at that point because I did not want that to seem like it was a decision that I supported. And from there, I started CraveHRO, where I work with small employers to help them set up their foundational HR and provide them with the best possible culture foundation that I can.
So pretty much you kind of like, I guess one of the reason why you wanted to also, you left that job also, if they're not listening to you, perhaps you can go start something where you'll be able to provide more values to people that will actually listen to what's matter to the staff, not just the pocket of the company itself.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, not everyone is for everyone. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. My professional tagline is not your father's HR, because I'm trying to change the stigma as HR has been presented in the media. A lot of employees have bad experiences with HR and they're basically conditioned not to trust you. And I'm trying to change that with a more modern approach to the way I practice HR.
Well, you guys are supposed to be mean.
See, that's not true. Not all of us. There are some bad apples out there, but a lot of us really are passionate about what we do because we know that we're spending a majority of our time at work, and we want work to be a nice place to be.
That's true. So now, earlier you said that CraveHRO is about supporting small business owners.
Yes.
So what else do the company provide? What is the company's all about, and also the services that it's provide?
Sure. So I have some clients that are more on the startup side of things, where they call me when they need expert advice. So if something comes up with their employees, or a new law is passed, or there's a situation that they don't know how to handle, they have me on call. So I will be there to support them and help them through whatever it is that they're experiencing. These these type of companies that I work with, I help them create their foundation for compliance. So your standard labor law posters, your handbooks, your policies, your procedures, your performance management process, everything of that nature is how I support them. Because a lot of the times these business people are just getting their feet on the ground and they don't know HR. They know their business. So I'm there to kind of fill that gap. And then on the flip side of things, I have clients that are much more high touch. They've been in business for quite a while, and they're looking for added support in the HR area that's already existing. So those clients I'm more heavily involved in their day-to-day. So I'll attend their leadership meetings. I will help them with recruiting. I will help them with employee relations. I will be their employees' contact if they need a third party to talk to. Those clients I would say I'm more like their back office HR.
So pretty much you kind of handle everything for them when it comes to human resources. You like any issues that they face, they might not know how to handle it, that you step in and like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you handle that. You're not there full time, but you kind of like that.
Correct. So I'm
backup and kind of. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Well, that is something else also I wanted to talk to you about, because you are a functional chief human resources officer, which is CHRO. So what is that is all about? Can you explain what it means and how your service is different from a traditional HR consultant firm?
Sure. So what it is it means I work with multiple different clients and employers to help them meet their HR needs. So these are people who don't necessarily need full-time on-site HR people, but they're looking to have someone that they could call on for that expertise and for that added support to make sure that their business and their business stays on track and we mitigate their risks with any type of labor agencies, but also that their employees are, happy and supported as well.
So, by doing that, so you can have like 10, 20, 30, however many clients that you are supporting at the same time.
Yes, it is limitless.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, but you know what? I was just thinking about this. It's something that I love because instead of making a difference for one company, I can make as big of an impact as possible across multiple companies.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So when it's come to the employer's payroll, things like that, do you handle that as well, or you just do part of their human resource?
So I do handle some operational tasks, such as that. My specialty is strategic human resources. So your employee relations, employee morale, policy development and implementation. But if there's a need for those types of operational tasks, I can definitely provide support in that area as well. And if I can't provide that support, I likely know someone who can and can bring in one of my partners at that point.
Do you, but your company doesn't offer like accounting, like for example, QuickBooks or anything like that?
No, but I know a guy.
I love that. I know I can't help you with that, but I can find someone who can help you.
Yes, I always strive to provide a solution for my clients, no matter what their pain point is, even if that solution lies outside of CraveHRO.
But I know that also you said that you fall in love with HR while working with that company. Is there was another reason behind it why you decided that you will continue even after you leave your full-time work, you continue to do the same thing, like starting your company in the same industry? There's another reason behind it?
There is. And that That reason is that I want to be in control of my own income. I don't ever want to find myself in a position where I'm relying on someone else to be able to live. I've been in that position before. It's not comfortable, and it's not somewhere I have to be. So that is really my motivation behind branching out on my own. Like I said before, I have very strong professional opinions on the human resources function, and it's not for everyone. So I don't want to worry that if I am presenting a different solution than one that one is used to, and they don't agree with it, I don't want to worry that my life will fall apart, So I try always to put the best interest of my employers and their employees at heart, but there are some situations where people are still viewing HR the old school way, and it's much more progressive than that in 2023.
But when you say that you have a very strong point of view when it comes to HR, so can you give us an example of that? Because don't get me wrong, when you say strong, some people might think in a negative way, some people might think I'm thinking it's in a positive way because of the way you talk about it. It's a way that you're trying to change the way people see HR compared to me. Like when I was in the corporate world, if you talk about HR, you're talking about, I'm going to meet with that mean girl that's about to make me feel like I want to go commit suicide tomorrow or something. So, but can you give us an example of what you mean by a strong opinion of?
Sure. Don't get me wrong. I do have to participate in terminations, and it is not something that I enjoy, but it is a necessary evil. And my whole approach to it is obviously making sure that the company is covering their tracks and doing it the right way. Because there's a right way and a wrong way to terminate someone. Or just separating with someone in general. It doesn't need to make them an enemy. You could still do these things with empathy and in a way that will set them up for success moving forward, even if it's not with your company. So that's the way I try to operate, putting myself in their shoes and always acting with transparency. I believe that employees should have all the information that they need to make the decisions that are right for them. And there has been some instances in my career where that wasn't always the case. And I've advocated for my colleagues, and it didn't end well for me. But that just shows me that those are not the kind of people that I should be working with. I should be working with people who are coming to me to be the best that they can be for their employees, not to use me as a shield between them and their employees, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But another question that I have for you, when you say that to fire someone, there's a right way to do it to make sure that even if they don't even if it's not for the company, but they can go work for another company and still be the best advocate that they can be for that company. So I know firing can be very hard.
Yeah.
But I never heard of a nice way of doing it. So can you give me an example of the way that you feel like a company should be firing in the right way instead of just say, hey, you come here, you're fired?
Right. I mean, there's a way to do it that is supportive and humane, really, is what it is. And, that is having those rough conversations, explaining to them why and there's a variety of different situations. So I'm talking general, not extreme. So if there's gross misconduct, that's a little bit of a different story, and it all depends on the situation. But say it's something like their performance, isn't up to par. you don't know what is going on in that employee's personal life because you're not them. And if they choose to share that with you, how you react to that as well has a ton of weight. So when you're terminating someone based on bad performance, obviously you need to go through the channels. You want to do your progressive discipline, your performance improvement plan. And if none of that works and they're not improving, there's a way to separate with compassion. And, that is sitting down, having a human conversation, explaining to them exactly where they fell short to meet those business needs and providing them with support after the fact too, helping them off board, giving them the information they need. What's going to happen to their 401k? What's going to happen to their health insurance? How are they going to apply for unemployment? And keeping them informed. And that's literally from hire to retire, even pre-hire, when you're in the recruiting stage. Keeping them informed, giving them the information that they need to make decisions that will benefit them and their lives, because everyone's going through something, and it's just important to remember that and to deliver life-changing news like that with empathy.
So now, do you think that also before firing, like you just say something that's very important, because you said that so you don't know what's going on in that person's life. Perhaps their performance has been bad because something is going on at home. Perhaps they're sick. They're not feeling well. They have to keep going to a doctor. They might have cancer, something that the doctor said to them. They don't know if they're going to make it. It can be anything, really. So with that said, do you feel like before even thinking about firing that person, perhaps having a conversation with that person should be the first step?
For sure. A lot of employers are nervous to speak with their employees about these types of issues because, there are laws in place like the Americans with Disabilities Act and other laws of that nature, which are amazing because they protect employees, who need it, but also employees need to know that they can disclose. I did an article about this a couple of months ago where everyone says it's okay not to be okay, but it really does depend on your working environment, and you need to kind of make that best judgment for yourself as an employee on whether or not it's safe to disclose what you're going through. But that's where people like me come in. So I'm not there. I'm not in the day-to-day. My income doesn't rely on this employer, but obviously I get paid, but not to the extent where if I lost them, I would be lost. So that's where someone like me comes in, where I can provide an impartial third-party ear and also give recommendations. There are ways that employers can better support their employees that sometimes they don't even know about. So just off the top of my head, EAPs. Do you know what that is? You don't. So an EAP is an employee assistance program. They're low cost to the employer and they're paid for by the employer. But what it is it's giving an anonymous hotline kind of to your employees that they can call in on a host of issues and get resources and services provided to them that will help them perform better at work, and this is not just work related services. There's financial services, legal services, mental health services, and that's all provided by this outside company. So I've partnered with EAP programs too, because I'm not a mental health professional. I am a mental health advocate. So those types of services, when a client presents me with these problems, would be something that I would bring into the picture and say, hey, have you ever heard about this? This might be what this employee needs to solve whatever it is that they have going on so that they can best perform their job for you.
I love the idea. And also, one thing that I love with the fact that when you go in, you are able to, let's back up a little bit. let's just say that I call you in. Hey, I have a member that's been performance very bad for the past 3 to 6 months. So is that something that you can come in and you say, yes, I can go talk to that person and find out what's going on? Or is that something that the owner needs to do that, then report that to you so you can guide the owner in a better way?
So it's a partnership. It's a team effort. A lot of the times I will take that position. Sometimes I will approach the employee with the employer. And sometimes they'll call me just for coaching. It really depends on the scenario and the situation and how they want to approach it. I'll make my recommendations, but at the end of the day, it's their decision. And I'm there to support them however they think is best.
When you say coaching, what type of coaching do you provide them?
They'll present me with the information, what the problem is, so to speak, and who the players are and what they have done thus far to address it and what they think they should do. And I take all that information, I process it, and I come back with either, yeah, I agree, and this is how you should document this situation, or I could present alternatives if I think that there might be a better way that will lead to a more favorable outcome for both parties.
Okay. So pretty much you kind of like, almost like you guide them, almost like on what to do and not what to do. But also when you're doing that, I would think that you also keeping the law in mind of
Exactly.
The right of the employee and also the right of the employer.
Right. So when they present me with these types of situations, I kind of go through the filing cabinet in my head about possible risk and reward and make adjustments accordingly. So I'm more like a mediator in that sense.
Yeah. HR mediator.
Yeah. We wear many hats.
What can I say? So now how can someone reach out to you for your services?
They can go to my website at www.cravehro.com. All my information is on there. They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. They can give me a call. And what I would do in that scenario is kind of like a needs analysis or an HR audit, whatever you want to call it, to see where they currently stand, what they want, and if there are any gaps to be filled. And then we take it from there. It starts with just a conversation. And, there's no obligation to move forward with me. Of course, I love when I get, new clients and build new relationships. But I'm really ultimately there to make a difference in their business and in their work culture. And, it's a conversation could, be just the start.
So now let's say when you get in, do you kind of go over all of the HR to see where they are in general?
I do. It starts with, I have a little bit of a checklist. So it starts with, basic compliance, things that every employer needs, or it's a strong best practice to have. So that's taking into account federal and state laws, and that's state laws if they're in multiple states as well. So that is where it gets a little complicated and hard to keep up with, which is, what I'm there for. And then I'll dive deeper. What are they currently offering their employees for incentives? How are they currently managing employee performance? What are some of their pain points, and what can we do to fix that?
And also that, do you look at what they are offering the staff members, like 401k or things like that? If they are not, do you make a suggestion they should be doing that to help the staff? Or
I do. And I provide benchmarking reports to kind of see what's going on in their industry and their geographical location, which can help, them attract and retain employees if they adjust to meet that benchmark.
Do you also help with hiring? I know that you can do some firing, but do you also do hiring?
I do help with hiring. I have a applicant tracking software that also posts jobs to many of the major job boards that I recommend to a lot of my clients, because I see it so frequently where they are spending so much money that they could be better investing in their employees elsewhere. And I recommend that software, and, whether they take it or not, that's up to them. But from there, I can help them, create job descriptions, screen their candidates, do initial interviews, and kind of help them develop an onboarding process that makes sense for them and will give their candidate the best experience possible. Because if you have a bad onboarding process, it is way more likely that you're going to lose that employee during their first 3 months than if you have a very tight onboarding process that helps them navigate this transition.
So now you said that you advise them to use a software. Do you mind sharing what that software is?
I do. Well, I don't mind. It's Jazz HR. I would never recommend a software that I wouldn't use myself, or really any type of vendor. But they are the best solution that I have seen in terms of cost effectiveness. I mean, I saved a company once. They were spending $5,000 a month on recruiting job boards, on some of the bigger name boards. I don't want to call them out, but I'm sure you have an idea.
We know.
But basically, I took that $5,000 down to $250 a month, so I saved them $60,000 in a year. And that is, that's on the extreme end of things. They were doing a lot of hiring, but that is an entry level employee's salary that they can now put towards that instead of postings. And the software, it's not only does it go to all the major job boards, it's also unlimited. So you can have one job, you can have 15 jobs, and it's the same price. And on top of having the job posting, gosh, I should just go work for them. But on top of having the job posting, they also have a built-in applicant tracking system. So now all your applicants' info is housed in one place. You could have your hiring managers just discuss everything about that candidate in that one software, so everyone is always on the same page. And you can also set up different workflows, and that kind of bleeds into the onboarding thing too, because once you hire them, you could put all your tasks, your onboarding tasks that need to get done in that system, and make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Wow, this is awesome. I never heard of it though.
I'll send you the info after.
I'll be looking forward to it. So, now the whole, everything is changing in the business. So what are some of the HR trends that you are keeping your eye on and you think that might change the future of HR?
Well, the hot topic now is AI, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So with ChatGPT, there is ways that you can use it to enhance your role as an HR person. But you need to remember, as an HR person, that HR stands for human. And there's nothing that is going to replace that human factor. While I have played around in there a little bit, and there is a lot of accurate information, it's important to do your research because it's not up to date and it doesn't take into consideration all the different laws at play. And there's some inaccurate information too, where I've had to say, hey, ChatGPT, that's incorrect. And they're like, oh, what's incorrect about it? And I'm like, this. And they're like, oh, you're correct. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for confirming. So that's definitely something to look out for. And, mental health in the workplace is something that I also think we are advancing. People are don't get me wrong, we have a long way to go, but people are breaking that stigma and starting to talk about it and starting to seek support in that area. And I think that I just actually last year, unfortunately, my mother was hospitalized after severe mental health issues. And that kind of gave me a personal reason to pursue this as well. But I did a certificate program called MenTalk, Mental Health and Wellness in the Workplace. And it's by Natasha Bowman, the Bowman Foundation. They are really the first of its kind that I've ever seen. It's an interactive workshop where we go over all the scenarios that could present itself at work in this way and how to handle it, because a lot of people don't know how to handle it. So programs like that is something that I am a huge advocate for, and I think more employers need to start offering to their employees so that they know how to handle these situations as they arise. And then that goes back to what we were talking about before, where if you see someone's performance suffering, it might not be something at work at all. It might be something that's going on inside them. And when that happens, the most proactive and most human way to handle it is to explore it. But you can't really explore it if you don't educate yourself in order
have
to
do
that.
so. But anyway, I know that you said that HR is humans and we can't replace that. But I was thinking maybe we can call it AI resources.
Oh no.
So now we can replace it by humans to AI. AI is the responsible. What did you do? I dropped coffee on the floor. You fired.
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh no, that would be terrible. You got to keep the human in human resources.
But do you have any advice for small business owners that struggling to keep their HR resources in place together? Any advice on how they can start to even create one in the first place?
Yeah. My advice is to reach out to me or someone like me, because HR is not what you do. HR is what we do. And you should focus on growing your business and making that as successful as possible so that you can strive and you can grow. And there are foundational human resources that you could take, like courses, things of that nature. But the problem is one training course is not going to help long term. And, you have to be consistent with it. HR is ever changing. Especially during COVID, it was like every single day there was something new that,
Yes.
we had to learn about and distribute that information to our clients in the way in which that it would affect them and kind of solve that problem as we're presenting the problem.
Yes.
So I think that is something that is really important. A lot of people look at HR as like a cost center, but if you think about the what we're actually managing, and if it's not managed correctly, how much that could actually cost you in terms of risk, in terms of turnover, in terms of unhappy employees.
That's true. I like that. And I think that also what you are doing also, I think it's a great way, because there's a lot of small business, they don't have the funding, they don't have the money to say, I'm going to hire a full-time HR person to handle all these things. And I think that you give them the time when they need it. If they don't need it, they don't have to pay for it. They can put that money somewhere else within the company. And I think it's a great way, it's a great way to help them grow instead of helping them sink in a way.
Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely believe that there is a purpose for full-time HR within an organization. And I have seen organizations with full-time HR people who are still seeking the services of an outside consultant for certain aspects of the role. And it is certainly an investment, but it is just that. It's an investment that is going to ultimately benefit you and your team.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So before I let you go, anything else you'd like to share with us?
Ooh.
I put you on the spot. Yeah, I did.
I know. I feel like I shared so much, and I'm sure I could talk about this all day long. But I just think it's important to reiterate that the workplace is changing, and employees, as they're adapting to these changes, employers need to meet them halfway, because if you do not, they'll find someone who will. And that's where someone like me comes into play. I can help you manage that and work through anything that's going on in a way that's beneficial for both the employer and the employee.
And also so that people know that, I know earlier I said that humans will be replaced by AI, but not yet. Not yet. We're thinking about it, but not yet. So far, humans, we all have our jobs, but if we don't do our best, we probably will get replaced by AI. Definitely. Yeah. But that was a joke.
Yeah, as far as AI goes, it's coming. We kind of need to embrace it. We can use it to enhance our roles, but I would not yet trust it to do our roles.
Our work. I think that everything still needs the human touch.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And I thank you so much, Nicole, for giving me the chance to talk to you, to talk about your business and all that you do to support small business owners. God knows we need the help. When we're first starting out, even then when we reach to 10, 20 employees, we still need the help because it's a lot of laws that we don't know anything about. And like you said, we're not supposed to be focusing on it. We're supposed to focus on growing the business and let somebody else handle that part. So I appreciate your help and all you do.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate you having me. This is great. Let's do it again sometime.
I can't wait. I think next time we do it, we're going to be talking about how AI is going to replace humans.
Yeah. Let's hope that's a couple of years down the line.
I don't think we're going to get that. I don't believe that.